conductor and string player, I've often thought how the bow is similar to a painter's palette. Different parts of the bow give us different colors, as a painter's palette has different colors. Painters like French Impressionists, like Manet or Monet, had a certain palette or colors they would use. Watercolor painters use softer colors. Different than, let's say, a Picasso or a Jackson Pollock or a modern painter. Different set of colors. And those relate to tone, style, and dynamics as far as string players go. So I started with a little fiddle song, and that uses the middle of the bow. It's kind of a general style of bow stroke. When you shift composers like Vivaldi, Mozart, and Brahms, there are different bow strokes associated and placement of how we use the bow. That example of Vivaldi concerto is very similar to the fiddler example. You use the middle of the bow from the balance point out here, the middle third. Now, so much music we play is in that style. Now, one of those stories I remember, or experiences I had once at a rehearsal, observing with my students at the Kansas City Symphony, the conductor, Michael Stern, told the violinist to get out of Vivaldi land. And what he was talking about is that they're in the wrong part of the bow for the style of music they're playing. So here's an example of music that would be quite different, that would be a different part of the bow. Tango players are very good at percussive effects and playing at the frog. So this would be very, very different, an example of a different color you might try for. So there's at the frog, and then the tango players have a special technique too. It's called the cricket. Very percussive effect, must be done at the frog. So kind of an extreme example of difference between Vivaldi and tango. Now here's an example of Telemann, similar composer, Baroque style of Vivaldi, and you'll note that even on the bass I use the middle and upper half of the bow. So I'm going to shift composers and shift colors, so to speak, and shift what part of the bow I use. So this is one of the most famous pieces by Mozart. This is the Serenade, Eine kleine Nachtmusik, and this is the opening. And so you're going to see how I use the middle of the bow. So, even though I'm using middle of the bow, obviously there's a dynamic change of soft, so I move up to the tip after the rest. Okay, now we are here at a cello showing the same Mozart, and the bow stroke should be the same as placement and off the string playing. Here's an example of Brahms, a very different composer from a different time period and a different nationality, so it's a different color. And here's an example of playing at the frog from Symphony Number 2. Again, like a painter's palette, I view the bow has many colors. And in general, your upper third are your pastels and lighter colors and lighter dynamics. The middle of the bow are your everyday colors and everyday dynamics. And the frog is more dramatic, darker, and can be used to emphasize music style in a more dramatic way. So I think of this as a painter's palette. As a conductor, like the Michael Stern story, he could look over his entire violin section and say, some of you are in Vivaldi land, you need to get out of there. You could do that with your group if you look over the string section, are in the right part of the bow. When I observe an orchestra from whatever level, the higher the level, generally the more the same the bow placement. So if you see the Philadelphia Orchestra, they're going to be in the same part of the bow most all the time. And you see your local elementary group, they may or may not be in the same part of the bow. So thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for others, and there'll be more from Global Strings Alliance.